I love this one. Now, I'm going to be careful about saying this because, any good leader, like any good parent, should not have favorites. But this is my favorite. Like, seriously, because I have not seen a program like this, and it was created with a particular client in mind for their salespeople. But it turned out with almost no modification, we're able to apply it to pretty well any professional that has to deal with any other professional. Because if you look at, like, in fact, each of you, like in your roles, you deal with other people and you need to influence. And it's, and your success, your effectiveness depends on the quality and the effectiveness of your relationships. And so the approach we took, we looked at the evolution of selling. Forget the 80s when selling was just awful. In the 90s, selling became, like we heard about relationship selling, but it was about being everybody's friend. Like, you'd walk into somee's office and you'd see a set of golf clubs and you go, "Oh, you play golf? I also play golf. We should play golf." That was, who's got time for that? Right? It evolved into deep counselor selling, where you were seen as a valuable problem solver. And that's good. That is really good. But it is very limited because it means you are only as good as your last solution. And you are seen as being a technical adjunct, like almost like a subcontracted brain. There is so much more. And this is, again, for you internally, as well as any client-facing person, any an accountant, not necessarily a partner or one of the deal makers, the rainmakers. We're talking anyone who is client facing. We get them to go deep. One of the breakout rooms is we do, and this is a fascinating exercise, is where we look at go beyond the role, go beyond the task to the person. Ask questions. We get people learning how to ask questions that are unique, answer questions that are unique to that person. In other words, if you ask a question, like, the typical question people ask is, what's your KPI, or what do you find difficult at the moment? And anyone who's in that same role, any client who's in that same role would answer probably the same way. You ask the question differently so that you get an answer that is unique to that person. And once you've done that, you have reached them at a different level. I'll actually share my screen because I will show you two of the questions that we ask. And this is a workshop, but what questions will make your clients pause and look upwards? In other words, a question that makes them dream. Like, what are the opportunities? Like, where do you think we can go with this? Like, how good can it be? You ask the questions, okay, this is, we might, have this audit solution, but what do you think the next step is? Or what, if time wasn't an issue, what would you love to do? And when you see the client pause, look, like, you sit back sometimes and look up, they're dreaming, they've gone into their personal space with complete permission. That's one, when you're getting people to dream. The next one, when you're looking at problems, what questions will make your clients exhale and look downwards? Then they've opened up. Like, you ask, you're talking about the problems they're having, they're trying to solve. And then you ask something like, how bad does it get? They pause, they exhale, they look down. And they look up and say, I can't remember the last time I picked my kids up from school. That's how bad it gets. When you get to that level, then you've got person. Then you have a real relationship that's not based on friendship. It doesn't rely on you knowing how the kids are doing at school and things like that. It shows that you become the default go-to person whenever they have a question. That, the whole thing with relationship selling, and then we go beyond that to some of the things Craig was talking about of having presence under pressure, the breathing, the clarity, being able to having the confidence in yourself to say less, but with higher levels of clarity, being able to get people to tame their advice monster, like to not go straight into advice, but stay in, like, rather than go straight into this is what you need to do, stay in the why a little bit longer, right? Understand them more deeply. those are things of high performance. They are aspects of high performance that come directly into the quality and the depth of a relationship. And if you can master relationship, you can master your professional career. And as I said, it started with salespeople. It spread to every professional at every level in an organization, even when they're client facing or not, even for internal people. In fact, HR people could well do with more of these questions. Right, that is absolutely. I know I shouldn't admit it, but that is absolutely my favorite program. And but I'd be interested in what generally people are thinking, how we're all reacting. What do you think, Craig?
Yeah, that's good. And that program there, around this whole thing around relationship selling is inside the top 2, along with mastering presentation to C-suite. It is in the top 2 programs that that Fortune 100s are requesting. Now, I will give you, when Damien talked about this program where we first developed it for a Fortune 100 company. It was actually for a very small company in Australia. They've gone on to we've delivered another program for them, exactly the same. And for next year, we'll continue that program, but we've now added 2 more different programs throughout that organization. They are embedding it into their onboarding, as well as their continued refreshing and development inside their company. And, anyone can sell something that is transactional or even a solution, but when it comes to selling from a relationship perspective, that's when you get the long-term benefits and you stay connected as a company, but also potentially as you move on to another company, they will want to follow you as well, if you are the person who is holding that truly deep relationship.